What if I told you that the secret to Apple's success, Martin Luther King Jr.'s leadership, and the Wright brothers' groundbreaking flight all comes down to one simple idea? It's not luck, it's not talent. It's a pattern that all great leaders follow. Today, we're diving deep into Simon Sinek's Start With Why, a book that uncovers the power of inspiration over manipulation. If you want to be a leader that truly influences and inspires people, this is the video for you. Why start with why? Most companies and leaders know what they do. Some even know how they do it, but very few know why they do it. Simon Sinek introduces the Golden Circle, a framework that explains why certain individuals and organizations inspire where others fail. Understanding your why changes everything. So, let's break this down into 6 powerful sections. Part 1. A world that doesn't start with why. Let's face it, most businesses and leaders start with what? They focus on products, services, or numbers rather than purpose. This is why so many companies rely on manipulation, discounts, fear tactics, promotions. But real, lasting influence doesn't come from tricks. It comes from clarity of purpose. That's what separates leaders from those who simply hold power. Imagine walking into a store, and the first thing a salesperson tells you is that their product is the best, that has the most advanced features, and that it's on sale today. Sounds compelling, right? But think about it. How many times have you walked away from a purchase, despite all these sales tactics, simply because you didn't feel connected to the brand or product? That's because the decision to buy, to follow, or to believe isn't just about logic. It's emotional. And emotions aren't driven by what a company does. They're driven by why it does it. Companies that lack a clear why often find themselves trapped in an endless cycle of price wars, promotions, and gimmicks. They struggle to build real, long-term loyalty with customers. Let's take a look at the automobile industry. If you've ever seen car commercials, you'll notice a pattern. One company touts best-in-class fuel efficiency, another boasts top safety ratings, and yet another offers 0% financing. These are all what statements. They may be enticing, but they don't create deep emotional connections. Compare that to Tesla. Tesla doesn't start with what? They don't market themselves primarily as an electric car company with impressive range and speed. Instead, they start with why. We believe in accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. That belief draws people in. It creates a movement, not just a transaction. This issue doesn't just affect businesses. It affects individuals too. Think about a job interview. 2 candidates have nearly identical resumes, skill sets, and experience. But one talks about what they do. I have 5 years of experience in marketing. I manage campaigns. I increase sales by 20%. The other candidate starts with why. I am passionate about helping brands tell stories that resonate with people. I believe in the power of authentic messaging to create real impact. That passion has driven me to manage campaigns that increase sales by 20%. Who would you rather hire? It's the same reason why some movements thrive while others fade. If you tell people what to do, buy this, vote for me, follow this rule, they may comply temporarily. But when you inspire them with why, they become passionate advocates. In summary, a world that doesn't start with why is filled with manipulation, fleeting success, and transactional relationships. But those who lead with why build trust, loyalty, and long-term influence. So before you focus on what you're offering, ask yourself, why should anyone care? Because if you don't have a clear answer, neither will they. Part 2. The Golden Circle. Here's the key insight. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This is the foundation of Simon Sinek's Golden Circle, a simple but powerful model that explains how leaders inspire action. Picture 3 concentric circles. The outermost circle represents what a company or individual does. The middle circle is how they do it. But the most important part is the innermost core, the why. Most organizations operate from the outside in, starting with what they sell and moving inward to how they do it. But the truly inspiring leaders and businesses start with why and move outward. This is what makes all the difference. Let's break it down. Imagine you're looking for a new smartphone. If a company were to market their product the way most do, they might say, "We make great smartphones." They have high-resolution cameras, fast processors, and sleek designs. Want to buy one? That's starting with what? Now let's look at Apple. Apple doesn't just tell you what they make. Instead, their message sounds something like this: everything we do challenges the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. Our products are beautifully designed and user-friendly. Oh, and we happen to make great computers and phones. Want to buy one? See the difference? One message is transactional. The other is inspiring. This approach doesn't just apply to companies. It applies to people too. Think about job seekers. A candidate who starts with what might say, I have 10 years of experience in project management, I have an MBA, and I have led teams of 50 people. But a candidate who starts with why says, I believe that great leadership empowers teams to accomplish extraordinary things. I thrive in environments where I can help people collaborate and grow. That's why I pursued an MBA and spent the last 10 years leading teams of 50 people. Who do you think leaves a stronger impression? Starting with why isn't just about messaging. It's about identity. It's why some brands have die-hard loyalists while others struggle to stand out. Look at Harley-Davidson. People don't buy Harleys just because of their engine power or design. They buy into the why, the freedom of the open road, the rebellious spirit, the feeling of belonging to a tribe of riders who share their values. That's why some fans go so far as to tattoo the Harley-Davidson logo on their bodies. That's not just brand loyalty, it's identity alignment. This model also explains why some movements take off and others fizzle out. When Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his famous speech, he didn't say, I have a plan. He said, I have a dream. He didn't start by outlining policy details. He inspired people with a vision. And because people believed in his why, they rallied behind him in droves. So, how can you apply the golden circle to your own life or business? Start by asking yourself 3 key questions. 1. What do I do? 2. How do I do it? 3. Why do I do it? If your answer to why is simply to make money, dig deeper. Money is a result, not a purpose. What impact do you want to have? What drives you? Once you have clarity on your why, use it to guide your decisions, marketing, and leadership style. The more you communicate from the inside out, the more you'll inspire people to follow, not just transact. At the core of it all, people don't just buy products, follow leaders, or join movements because of what they are. They do so because of why they exist. Start with why, and you'll build something that lasts. Part 3. Leaders need a following. Leadership is not about authority. It's about inspiration. True leaders don't just have people who work for them. They have people who believe in them. Having a great idea or a strong vision is not enough. You need people who are inspired to follow you and help bring that vision to life. This is where trust, credibility, and shared beliefs come into play. Let's take a look at 2 types of leaders: those who lead with authority and those who lead with inspiration. Leaders who rely on authority use their position, power, or incentives to get people to follow orders. This approach might work in the short term, but it rarely creates deep loyalty or enthusiasm. Think about a boss who only motivates employees with salary raises or promotions. If a better offer comes along, people will leave. Now, compare that to a leader like Martin Luther King Jr., who had no formal authority, no title that commanded power, and yet he led a movement that transformed the nation. Why? Because people believed in his why. They weren't just following orders. They were following a dream they connected with on a deeply personal level. This is the same principle that applies in business. Companies that build loyalty don't just sell products. They build communities. Look at Harley-Davidson. Their customers don't just buy motorcycles. They buy into a lifestyle. The company has cultivated a following so dedicated that people tattoo the brand's logo on their bodies. Why? Because Harley-Davidson doesn't just sell motorcycles. They sell the idea of freedom and rebellion, and their customers see themselves in that idea. That's what makes them fiercely loyal. The Wright brothers offer another great example. In the race to build the first airplane, Samuel Pierpont Langley had every advantage: funding, government support, and a team of brilliant scientists. The Wright brothers, on the other hand, had none of those advantages. But what they did have was passion, a clear sense of purpose, and a team that truly believed in what they were doing. They weren't just working for a paycheck. They were part of something bigger. That belief drove them to succeed where Langley failed. So, how does a leader create a following? By building trust. Trust is not built through manipulation, rewards, or fear. It's built through consistency and authenticity. Leaders who consistently communicate and act in alignment with their why earn the trust and loyalty of their followers. Steve Jobs was known for his relentless pursuit of excellence and his belief in challenging the status quo. Apple's employees and customers followed him because they believed in that vision, not just because they liked the products. That's why Apple customers remain loyal even when competitors offer cheaper or more advanced technology, because they believe in Apple's why. Building trust also means admitting when you're wrong. Leaders who pretend to have all the answers or refuse to acknowledge mistakes often lose credibility. On the other hand, leaders who are honest, transparent, and willing to learn from failure earn deeper respect. Think about companies that issue sincere apologies when they make mistakes versus those that try to cover them up. Which ones do people trust more in the long run? If you want to lead, not just manage, you must give people something to believe in. Ask yourself, what do I stand for? Why should people trust me? Am I leading with purpose or just authority? True leadership is about inspiring people to follow you, not because they have to, but because they want to. And when people follow you because they believe in your vision, they will go above and beyond to make it a reality. Part 4. How to rally those who believe. Once you know your why, the next challenge is finding and rallying the people who believe in it as much as you do. This isn't about convincing skeptics or persuading the masses. It's about identifying those who already share your vision and creating an environment where they feel inspired to join you. Movements don't start because of mass marketing or aggressive sales tactics. They begin when a small group of people deeply believe in something and feel compelled to take action. Think about how great companies, social movements, and revolutionary ideas take off. They don't appeal to everyone right away. They attract a dedicated core of early believers who spread the message organically. Consider Tesla. In the early days, they didn't try to appeal to everyone. They focused on the environmentally conscious, tech-savvy pioneers who believed in sustainable energy and cutting-edge innovation. Those first customers weren't just buying a car. They were investing in a movement, a future they wanted to be part of. Because Tesla focused on rallying believers, they created a passionate customer base that did the marketing for them. People who own Teslas don't just drive them. They talk about them, advocate for them, and proudly show them off to others. The same principle applies to leadership. If you want people to follow you, don't waste time trying to convert those who don't share your values. Instead, focus on those who naturally align with your vision. If you're building a company, hire people who believe in your mission. If you're leading a movement, seek out individuals who already resonate with your cause. When people feel personally connected to your why, their motivation goes beyond financial incentives or rewards. It becomes emotional and deeply personal. This is also why storytelling is such a powerful tool for rallying believers. People don't connect with dry facts or statistics. They connect with stories that evoke emotion and meaning. Look at the most successful brands and movements in history: Apple, Nike, the civil rights movement. They all use storytelling to communicate their purpose. They don't just say what they do. They tell stories that inspire. Martin Luther King Jr. didn't give a speech about policy changes. He painted a vivid picture of a better future. His "I Have a Dream" speech wasn't just words. It was an emotional call to action that made people feel something. Another key to rallying those who believe is consistency. People trust and follow leaders who are unwavering in their mission. If you change your message too often or try to appeal to everyone, you dilute your core purpose and risk losing the trust of your most passionate supporters. Great leaders and companies stick to their beliefs, even when it's difficult. Patagonia, for example, has built a loyal following by staying true to their commitment to sustainability. They don't compromise their values for short-term gains. And because of that, their customers trust them deeply and remain loyal for the long haul. In essence, the goal is not to reach everyone, it's to reach the right people. Start small, find those who share your why, and nurture that connection. Once you've built a passionate inner circle of believers, they will help spread your message far and wide. As Simon Sinek says, People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. And when they truly believe in your why, they'll do more than just buy. They'll become ambassadors, advocates, and champions of your cause. Part 5. The biggest challenge is success. Success is a double-edged sword. While it brings recognition, profits, and influence, it also presents the greatest challenge for leaders and organizations, staying true to their why. When a company or individual achieves success, there's often a shift in focus. Instead of continuing to lead with purpose, many start chasing short-term gains, metrics, and external validation. This is when why begins to fade, and once it does, everything starts to unravel. Let's take a closer look at this phenomenon. When companies start out, they are driven by a clear mission. The founders have a vision, a passion, and a deep sense of purpose that attracts like-minded people. Their why is at the core of everything they do. But as they grow, external pressures mount. Investors demand higher profits, competitors introduce new challenges, and market trends shift. This is the crucial moment when companies must choose between staying true to their why or deviating for the sake of short-term gains. A prime example of this is Kodak. Once an industry leader in photography, Kodak lost sight of its purpose. The company that once stood for capturing memories became more focused on selling film. Ironically, they were the first to invent digital photography, but they shelved the technology out of fear it would hurt their film sales. By prioritizing what they sold over why they existed, Kodak lost relevance, and eventually they lost their market. Compare that to Apple, a company that has consistently reinforced its why. Apple's why has always been about challenging the status quo and making technology intuitive and accessible. Even as they've expanded into different product lines, computers, phones, watches, and services, their core message has remained unchanged. Their marketing doesn't focus solely on product specs. It highlights their mission of innovation and simplicity. Because of this consistency, Apple enjoys unwavering customer loyalty. The same challenge applies to leadership. Many leaders begin their journey with a powerful why, but as they climb the ranks, they get caught up in maintaining their position rather than fulfilling their purpose. Think of companies where the founder steps down, and suddenly the culture shifts. The new leadership might focus on efficiency and revenue, but if they don't understand or reinforce the original why, employees and customers start to disconnect. Success can also lead to complacency. When organizations reach the top, they often stop innovating. Instead of pushing boundaries, they play it safe. Blockbuster is a classic case of this. They dominated the video rental market, but failed to embrace the shift to streaming, even when Netflix presented an opportunity to collaborate. Blockbuster was so focused on protecting their physical rentals, that they ignored the evolving needs of their customers. The result? A company that once controlled an industry was replaced by a competitor that stayed true to its vision. So how can organizations and leaders prevent this downfall? The key is to continually reinforce why. Leadership must consistently communicate and act in alignment with their core mission. Decisions, whether about expansion, hiring, or product development, should always be filtered through the lens of purpose. Leaders must also surround themselves with people who challenge them to stay true to their why rather than just chasing profit. Additionally, organizations must be willing to evolve without losing their foundation. Amazon is a great example of this. While their what has expanded dramatically, from books to cloud computing to grocery stores, their why remains the same: customer obsession and making life easier. Every innovation they introduce aligns with that purpose. At the end of the day, success should not be the goal. Impact should be. If a company or leader remains focused on why, they will not only sustain success, but also inspire future generations to carry their mission forward. As Simon Sinek says, achievement happens when we pursue and attain what we want. Success comes when we are in clear pursuit of why we want it. Part 6. Discover why. The journey to success isn't about chasing numbers or external achievements. It's about discovering your why and staying committed to it. But here's the truth. Most people and organizations don't take the time to define their why. They focus on what they do and how they do it, but without a clear sense of purpose, their actions lack direction and meaning. So, how do you discover your why? It's not something you invent, it's something you uncover. Your why is deeply rooted in your values, experiences, and the impact you want to make in the world. It's what fuels your passion and makes your work feel meaningful. To help you find your why, ask yourself these key questions. 1. What are the moments in your life that made you feel most fulfilled? 2. What kind of impact do you want to have on others? 3. What values drive your decisions and actions? 4. What excites you so much that you lose track of time doing it? Take some time to reflect on these questions. Write down your thoughts, talk to people who know you well, and look for patterns in your answers. Your why will often be something that has been present throughout your life, even if you didn't realize it at the time. Once you discover your why, the next step is to live it out consistently. This means aligning your actions, career, and decisions with your purpose. Companies that stay true to their why create cultures of trust and loyalty. Leaders who embody their why inspire teams to go above and beyond. And individuals who act on their why feel a sense of fulfillment that no amount of money or external success can replace. Take Richard Branson, for example. His why has always been about challenging the norm and making business fun and adventurous. That's why every Virgin company, from airlines to music to space travel, carries the same spirit of innovation and excitement. Branson doesn't just build businesses. He builds experiences that align with his why. The same principle applies to movements. Think about the most powerful social and political movements in history. The ones that endure and create lasting change are those that are built on a clear and compelling why. When people rally around a purpose they deeply believe in, they become unstoppable. But here's the catch. Discovering your why is only the beginning. Living it requires courage and commitment. There will be times when external pressures push you to compromise. There will be challenges that make you question your path. But if you stay true to your why, you will inspire others, create meaningful impact, and build something that lasts. So ask yourself today, what is my why? And more importantly, how am I living it every day? Because at the end of the day, success isn't measured by what you achieve, but by the purpose that drives you. And when you lead with purpose, you don't just create success. You create legacy.